What if I told you that somewhere in the heart of London, hidden between old brick buildings, flickering street lamps, and narrow Victorian alleys, there exists a place where people vanish into thin air, and the CCTV footage meant to protect the city shows absolutely nothing? Tonight on Creepy Vanish, we unlock the chilling mystery of the London alley vanishing. A case so bizarre, so impossible, and so deeply unsettling that investigators themselves refused to talk about it on record. And experts who reviewed the footage could not agree on what they didn't see, because the most terrifying part of this entire mystery is not what the cameras captured, but what they didn't. It begins with a young man named Ethan Ward, a 27-year-old graphic designer who left his office near Soho late one rainy Thursday night. He called his sister, told her he'd be home in 20 minutes, and for a while, everything was normal, just the usual rush of London nightlife. People laughing, taxis honking, and rain tapping against neon-lit windows. But according to the timeline police later built, Ethan decided to take a shortcut through Berkshire Alley, one of those narrow passageways most people avoid after dark, not because of crime, but because of the strange feeling it gives, like someone is standing just behind you even when it's empty. At 11:53 p.m., street CCTV captured Ethan walking toward the entrance of the alley. He's visible, clear, normal hood up, hands in pockets, walking steadily. He checks his phone once, adjusts his bag, hesitates for a second like he senses something, and then steps inside the alley. And that is the last time anyone ever saw him. The camera at the alley entrance shows Ethan entering, but the camera at the other end, the exit, never records him coming out. Police reviewed the footage dozens of times, frame by frame, pixel by pixel, but Ethan never appears. Not blurred, not distorted, not glitched. He simply never reaches the end. But here's where things get disturbing. Inside the alley, 4 CCTV cameras are installed, 2 owned by local shops, 1 by a private business, and 1 by the city. All 4 cameras failed to detect Ethan. Not a shadow, not a flicker, not a glitch. All 4 show the alley completely empty for the entire duration Ethan should have been inside. It's as if the moment he stepped off the main street, he stepped out of reality. Investigators initially suspected technical malfunction, but every camera kept recording everyone else just fine. Minutes before Ethan entered, footage shows a couple holding umbrellas walking through. Minutes after he disappeared, a drunk man staggering out while talking to himself. All normal. Only Ethan was missing from the recordings. Police searched every inch of the alley. No blood, no dropped phone, no footprints in the rain-soaked ground, no sign of struggle. Dogs picked up his scent at the entrance. And then nothing. It stopped abruptly mid-alley, the way a scent might stop if the person suddenly wasn't there anymore. Rumors spread fast. Some said the alley was cursed. Others claimed it was one of London's vanishing points, places where time and space don't behave normally. A retired officer anonymously told a local blogger that Ethan S. case wasn't he the first, just the first that reached the media. According to him, 3 similar disappearances happened there since 2009, but each was dismissed as a runaway case because investigators didn't want the public panicking. And if you think that sounds insane, wait till you hear this. When Ethan's sister insisted on seeing the original CCTV server footage, not the copied police files, the building's security team reluctantly agreed. But when they opened the archived recording folder for that night, the files were gone, deleted, not corrupted, not overwritten, manually deleted. Someone erased the only raw evidence of Ethan's last moments. But by who? And why? Even more disturbing, system logs showed that the files were deleted from a device that wasn't connected to the internal network. A device that didn't exist. A device with no MAC address. A ghost entry. Hackers and digital forensics experts tried to explain it, but no explanation made logical sense. As the investigation stalled, London locals began sharing their own creepy encounters in that alley. People reported hearing footsteps behind them when no one was there. Some felt sudden cold spots like someone brushed past them. Others swore they heard someone whisper their name in a voice identical to a loved one. One woman claimed she saw a shadow figure at the far end of the alley, and when it moved, it didn't walk, it glided. Another witness, a delivery driver, said he saw someone standing in the middle of the alley at 4 a.m., just staring at him, but when he turned his van lights on, the figure vanished instantly like smoke. No fading, no running gone in a blink. Interestingly, the alley itself has a dark history dating back to the 1800s. Old archives mention that the place was once the site of strange disappearances long before CCTV existed. Locals back then called it the Fold, believing it was a place where the world thinned like fabric worn out over time, making it easier for something or someone to slip through. Some historians connect the alley's location to old underground tunnels sealed decades ago. Others believe it sits on a geomagnetic anomaly, the kind that disturbs electronics and possibly illusions of perception. But if it's just a spot of weird energy, why only Ethan? Why only certain people? Why so clean, so precise, so selective? Or is this something darker? Something intelligent? Something watching? Some online theorists suggest the alley might be a hunting ground for a predatory presence that doesn't leave physical marks. Something that chooses its victims carefully, silently, invisibly. Something that doesn't want to be seen by cameras. Maybe that's why CCTV showed nothing, not because Ethan wasn't there, but because something else was, something that the cameras couldn't recognize or weren't allowed to record. And if that's true, then the London alley vanishing isn't a missing person case. It's a warning. Because even today, locals say the alley feels wrong at night, as if the air changes the moment you step inside. And anyone brave or foolish enough to walk through alone says the same thing. The feeling of being watched becomes so intense that you instinctively speed up, like your brain is screaming at you to get out. Before we continue deeper into the theories experts refuse to accept publicly, pause for a second if you're still here. If this mystery already has you hooked, then hit subscribe to CreepyVanish right now, because we dive into real disappearances and real unsolved cases that mainstream media want to touch. Your support keeps these stories alive, and who knows, maybe someday your comment might help solve a mystery like this one. Now, back to the alley. The most recent development came from a tech-savvy college student who tried enhancing the leaked CCTV frames. After hours of filtering, sharpening, and isolating color channels, he claimed to find a strange distortion, a faint ripple, just at the moment Ethan should have appeared. Not a human shape, not a silhouette, but a bending of pixels, like heat waves rising from asphalt. But here's the nightmare fuel. The distortion wasn't moving forward through the alley. It was moving sideways, as if something opened and closed in less than a second. Something like a slit, a tear, a doorway. And Ethan walked right into it without realizing. If that's true, then Ethan didn't vanish. He was taken, or he crossed over into a place our world's cameras, sensors, and rules cannot reach. And whatever is behind that tear might still be watching from the other side, waiting for its next chance. So tell me, after hearing all this, would you ever walk through that alley at night? Or do you think vanishings like this happen more often than we know, hidden not because of lack of evidence, but because something doesn't want us to see it? Drop your thoughts below, because your theory might be the only one that makes sense of this chilling mystery.